Hi Cheney family. Today I'm going to walk you through setting up a Zoom call, but I'm only going to focus on the discipline side of it. There's a lot of functions in Zoom that you can use that can minimize the risk of potential negative behaviors that happen while you're conducting your Zoom class. So if you follow along with me, I hope you learned something, and thanks for watching. Once again, the purpose of this video is to review some of the functions in Zoom related only to discipline and behavior. There's a lot of features in Zoom that can help you set up your class to run a smooth session. And there's also a lot of things that you might not initially think to do that could lead to some problems down the line. So the first and most important step is to sign into your Zoom account using your Clever portal. And since I can't demonstrate that in this video using my account, the other option, which will also work for you, is to log in through zoom.us. So once I sign into my account, I'm just going to click sign in with Google, and I'll choose my Google account, and I'm in. Now you'll notice right away on the left-hand side, there's a lot of options for you to filter through, and I definitely recommend before you go live with your first class to check all of them out and experiment with them and make sure it's custom to how you want to run your classroom. So the first part I want to show you is when you're scheduling a new meeting. And again, this is only things related to discipline and behavior. You won't have a choice to turn off or on passcode, but to make things easier and more accessible for your students, you might want to change the password to something like your teacher name. As I continue to scroll down, you're going to want video on by both hosts and participants because one of the norms is to have everyone on video during the class. Now, during meeting options, these four options become really important. The first one that says enable join before host, I will not toggle that option on. And the main reason for that is people who join before you can actually claim or take over the meeting as the host. I do want to mute participants upon entry. And I do want to record the meeting automatically. And I know I said this was only about behavior, but this is going to help so you don't have to remember to hit record when you start your class, because we do want all of our classes recorded for access later on. So that's pretty much it in the meeting setup that has to do with safety and behavior. But I want to direct your attention over to the settings option on the left-hand side. And this is where we can really get down into some important options. So the first one is a waiting room. We do want to have a waiting room on. Okay, this is so that if you do have a student that's causing problems, you can actually place them back into the waiting room temporarily. And you can invite people in as they join the meeting too. So I'm going to continue scrolling down. And I will click yes, start meetings with the host video on, and start the meeting with participant videos on. Remember, we do not allow joining before the host. You want to be the first one in there so that you have control over the meeting. I would click yes, mute participants upon entry. This is just so that everybody's not in there talking, and you can have a little more control over that. Continuing down, I want to make sure that chat is enabled so that we can have that running chat on the right-hand side of the screen, so that everybody can participate in that conversation. Now, the next one down, private chat, I would recommend turning that off, because this is where students would have the option to talk amongst or one-to-one to each other without your knowledge. I would say yes to autosave chats, just for that extra record. And another super important one is when we look at co-hosts. We do want to have co-hosts on because You're not going to be in there alone as a teacher. There's going to be others in there to support you. We want to make sure that they have hosting functions. And then who can share? I am going to recommend having host only share. If you have all participants, students would have the option to take over your screen at any time. So we want to make sure that host only. I would click yes to nonverbal feedback. That way you can ask questions to your students and they can click a button and give you responses without needing to go off mute and actually talk. And the same thing is with reactions. That's like your thumbs up and your claps. That's going to be up to you if you want that in there. But I think that it's another good formative tool as a teacher while you're in there. Allow removed participants to rejoin. Now, if you remove somebody for behavior, there's probably going to be some follow-up that needs to occur. So if you click yes and then you boot them out of the meeting, they're going to be able to rejoin right away. So you're going to have to leave that up to how you manage your own classroom, whether you want that to occur. And the next one down, allow participants to rename themselves. You would probably want to say no to that, just so that people can't go in there and rename themselves random names. In the advanced meeting options, as I continue to scroll down, you want to make sure that you have breakout rooms toggled on. This is so that you can further divide your class into smaller rooms, and that supports, more collaborative type activities. You do want remote support one-on-one. Oh, well, what I'm noticing is if I click remote yes, I can't do breakout rooms. And then so I'm going to want to turn remote support off so that I can do breakout rooms. So again, that's just something I learned as I'm clicking through here. And as I scroll down, those are pretty much the main options that have to do with discipline and behavior. Remember, if you don't allow one-on-one chat, you don't allow them to take over as host, then that gives you a lot more control as a teacher, and it helps you minimize the risk of behaviors that could occur that are negative and disrupt your class. So I hope you learned something, and thanks for following along.